It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold said so.
And so, goodbye. And good night. Bang!
Settle! Because I'm better than you, and you know it. Yes, sir!
Welcome to Off the Mats with Alex Slows and Josh Silverberg.
All right, everybody, you are listening and watching us on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network every Saturday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, 11 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock West Coast Pacific Time, as they say. I hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to another episode of Off the Mat, the only wrestling talk show here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I am your host, Mr. Josh Silverberg. Joining me at this time, of course, my tag team partner every Saturday down in sunny Florida. Although I don't know what's going on with those Tampa Bay Rays, but it is what it is at this point. Mr. Alex Slows, what's happening, man?
Nothing much. It's been an eventful week for wrestling. I cannot wait to get into AEW Dynamite. It was a fantastic show, and we have so much to get into, so little time. So let's get started. Stick with us the whole way through because it's going to be a great show.
Absolutely. Like you said, Alex, we have so much in the second half of the show. Of course, we're going to get into our favorite fall pay-per-views. So we're going to dive into that. We also have the G1 Climax is set. I have the finals with me. They're all set. We're going to get into that later on. And we had a big heel turn. I give you a hint who the heel turn was. I'm wearing his T-shirt. And it's a little outdated now because he's no longer in this group anymore.
Nope.
So, so we'll get into that a little bit
later. No longer there.
Of course, recap NXT and do everything like that. But before we go to that, let's do a little bit of the house cleaning, Alex. Let's tell the fans where they can hear us and listen to us. You can hear and listen to us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope. We are on every platform. Download our app. It is free. The app is free. I can't stress it enough. Just type in WWSRN, WWSRN. If you have an Apple phone, if you have an iPhone, I don't know, Apple phone. I feel like I'm 60 years old. If you have an Apple phone, if you have an iPhone, just go to the Apple Store. If you have an Android, go to the Google Play Store. It's that simple. Just click download. You can get our show schedule. If you missed our show, you can rewatch it. You can listen to it. The audio, the video. You can see mine and Alex's beautiful faces every Saturday at 12 o'clock. It's wonderful. We're not in the wrestling ring, so we're not getting punched around every time. So the faces you get to see. And just like I said, you get our show schedule. You get the different shows that are out there, from Wise Guys to the Sports Hit List to Below the Mic, Down to the Wire, the Ryan Hickey Show, the new Fantasy Sports Show, Weapons Hot, a New York Jets show, the BS Sports Show, and it was awesome. If you didn't know, I'm going to let you in on a little bit of information. I'm actually a special guest this week on the Weekend Crunch, the show that's usually with Errol Marks and Eric Coleman. So you'll want to tune to that. I can discuss the New York Jets and the disaster that they are, the dumpster fire that is the New York Jets. So I got to talk about that. But you get to just have our show schedule, the show content. Alex has written some amazing articles for the website as well, for the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. So you want to check those out. And again, worldwidesports.com. Check out our website. All that good stuff that we have. Check us out. Check out other shows. Support us. We love to hear from you as well, the fans. Alex, tell the fans how they can get in touch with us.
So you can get in touch with us on Twitter. My Twitter is @ShowSlows. Josh's Twitter is @JoshSilverberg. And you can call us. Feel free to dial in the number and let us know how we are doing during the show, what your thoughts on the different topics, and what we are discussing throughout the show. The number is 888-4295. Again, the number is 727-888-4295. Don't be afraid to call in and express your opinions and let us know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, like I said, we want to hear from the fans. We want to hear what your opinion is. And Alex, I was actually going to tell you this. We have somebody that actually next week I'm going to try to get him to hop on with us. His name is Keith Farrell. He runs the podcast. It Ain't Easy Being Green, which is a New York Jets podcast. But he's dying because I got to be on his show this past week. Alex, he is dying to pop on with us. He's been watching wrestling for over 20 years. He's still watching it to this day. He's dying to come on the show with us. So I told him straight up, I said, listen, if you let me on your show, I'm sure Alex and I would love to have you be a guest on our show to talk. He's gone to all the indie shows. So he lives out in like Westchester.
Wow.
So he goes to like all the indie shows.
He goes to all of them. Wow.
He was actually at John Moxley's last indie show against when he faced Pentagon in the main event, which is a crazy main event. But he was at that show, so it's crazy. So I told him maybe next week he could pop on with us for sure. And look, like I said, people like that, we want to hear from you. We want you, you know what
Definitely.
I mean? Strangers. And I think it'll be awesome to have him on. All right, Alex, let's get into it first. Before we do our AEW NXT recap, I want to get into something with you, and that's in regards to I agree with you 100%. I know the New Day, you think didn't get their proper send-off. Well, I think they finally got it last night in their last tag team match together when they beat Sheamus, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura on SmackDown. Alex, did you think it was the right send-off for the New Day, or do you still think it was kind of blech?
I think it was the right send off now how they did it. It was great to see them finish as a team and how it all turned out for them in the end, and the match was great, the setting was great. So I liked it. I thought it was good, so I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And also really quick, I have people texting me one of those shirts on my phone. I went WCW theme this week. I got Sting over here and I got Hollywood Hogan over. I'm pointing it wrong. I have Sting over here, and I have Hollywood Hogan over here. Alex, I figured you'd like this one. The
Hollywood Rules.
It was so funny because when I bought that shirt, I bought it at WrestleMania 35 at MetLife Stadium. And the guy that was selling me the shirt, I'm so mad at him because he told me, he said, oh, no, this shirt is exclusively for WrestleMania weekend only. And that was such a lie because I went on the WWE shop the next week and it was there. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Lies, so-and-so. I actually went out buying 2 shirts that weekend. I'll show you the shirt I bought. I bought a Mr. and Mrs. Met WrestleMania shirt that weekend because the Mets were sponsoring WrestleMania that weekend. So that was kind of cool. And that's my old Sting shirt. I keep pointing my fingers wrong. Sting. I keep doing it. This is Hogan. This is but I look so stupid, though, when I have to look this way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My guy, look, and then of course I got this is my original Will Ospreay shirt. This is back. I bought this shirt when Will Ospreay, nobody even really knew who he was.
And then mine's just a Moxley shirt because of the main event.
You wear that shirt to sleep. You wear it for breakfast. You wear it to the gym. You wear it to work. You wear it everywhere you can. I'm just kidding. You wear it to the McDonald's drive-thru. You pull off at McDonald's and you say to them, hey, listen, I'm going to show some violence if you don't order your damn food, all right? So, I'm kidding. But, we're getting to the Will Ospreay stuff and a little bit later on the show. But let's start with AEW, Alex. And like you said, I thought you thought it was a very good show. I thought it was too. What did you love about the show this week?
So it came down to being one full year of AEW. The show really brought true wrestling fans back to the sport and fans who wanted to see something new and improvements to each show every week of AEW Dynamite. And Tony Khan, I got to give it to him. He's done an amazing job with this company. And congratulations to him and the entire AEW staff and competitors. I can't wait to see what they accomplish in the next cycle. It's going to be great.
Is it crazy to you, Alex, that it's already been a year since Dynamite started?
Oh yeah, it flew by. It went by so fast.
Really did, and it's amazing. I was coincidentally, I was talking to Keith about it. Keith Farrell, who will join us next week on Off the Mat. And Keith, to me, said that Keith's words were, I remember the first day AEW started and everybody was saying they thought it was going to be like a WCW kind of thing. And he knew right off the bat with the roster they had, it was too deep to not be successful.
Exactly.
I agree with Keith 100%, and I know, Alex, you're a huge supporter. Look at, and my wife decided to pull this out, Alex. So this is the other shirt that I bought WrestleMania weekend. Because pretty much the Mets were sponsoring WrestleMania that weekend, and they actually had a Todd Frazier bobblehead that I have as well. I hate Todd Frazier, but I like the bobblehead, so it's cool. But I bought this at the WrestleMania Superstore at in Brooklyn, and then that's the back, which is kind of cool actually. It's like a jersey. It's a shirt and a jersey.
Yeah.
But I was so cool that the Mets sponsored WrestleMania that weekend. So thank you, Melissa, for that. Appreciate that. See what I mean? My wife hears me. That's how loud I am. So she always says to me, I'm so loud. She goes, "Why are you so loud?" And I'm just, it is what it is. But anyway, going back to what we were saying in regards to AEW, we look back at the roster that they have, and you see the development, and it's kind of crazy because think about this, Alex. Okay, hear me out for a second. They've signed Brody Lee,
Eddie Kingston,
Brian Cage,
Hikaru Shida, all those great competitors.
Those were the ones on the original roster, but I'm talking about the ones that they've recently signed.
So you're talking about Eddie
Kingston. Who did I say? Brody Lee, the FTRs of the world, Ricky Starks, and it's crazy.
Thunder Rosa, you can't leave her out.
Another one, and none of those people, Matt Hardy, and none of those people have had their debuts in front of big crowds yet.
No.
That's the crazy thing. I'm so curious what's going to happen when they do have the big crowds back up and running. But again, the only fear that I've said this to you, Alex, on this show many times is, and I want to get your thoughts. Do you think their roster is too deep where guys are going to be kind of squashed down? Because look, Lance Archer, so far in his two biggest matches in AEW, he's lost the TNT Championship match to Cody, and now he's lost the AEW Heavyweight Championship match to Jon Moxley. Although, my thoughts already, I think Kenny Omega's going to be the guy that eventually beats Moxley. With help from the Young Bucks, and they're going to form the original Elite. Do you think the roster is so deep that guys are getting, and girls too, are getting squashed down on the pole, and even Miro as well, are getting squashed down the roster where it maybe is too deep and guys just don't have enough room right now to be on this roster?
Maybe a little bit, because I kind of see Miro getting squashed a little bit. And then we saw Big Swole. She had her match against Hikaru Shida, and she lost that match. And then before she did she win? I think she beat Britt Baker, didn't she?
Yeah, I believe she did beat Britt Baker, yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's just I feel like with those mid-card superstars, there's just not enough. There's not enough momentum. There's not enough booking for them. There's not enough match results to where they can rack up wins. And a lot of these competitors need to rack up wins if they want to rise to the top of AEW.
I agree with you 100%. The thing that scares me, and look, I don't ever find it to be a problem. You also saw Matt Cardona have a 5-match contract. I don't think it's a problem that AEW signing wrestlers left and right. I think
No, it's definitely not an issue.
No, you have to have a roster. That's the biggest thing. I want to see Lance Archer win a big match, though. I mean, look, I think the best thing they did is they built Lance to look strong in his match versus Moxley, and he lost on a roll-up. So they built that perfectly. I thought that was fine. That was great. Perfect. But it's a matter of certain wrestlers. See, I don't know if I agree with you on Miro just yet, Alex. I gotta wait and see with Miro. I think he's got to ditch Kip Sabian.
Yeah, I agree. I think he needs to get rid of Kip Sabian. I think he's better off just being a solo competitor, singles competitor, without anybody backing him. Because that's what we need to see. We need to see Miro more of Miro by himself, alone, taking on top superstars.
Yeah, and he will get there. He will get there. They're just building it up right now. Look, I think Miro's done enough where, in my opinion, you know, he was so over when WWE released him as Rusev. And remember, I said on the show here weeks ago, I said, I can't believe WWE dropped the ball on this guy. This was a guy that I think they could have built as a heavyweight champion, and the fans would have went bonkers for the whole situation. You know, but I like AEW's route. Look, their tag team division is insane.
Yeah, it's really well done.
It's crazy.
How they put it all together.
Absolutely, and you could say the same thing about NXT with their women's division. Remember, we got so nervous because wrestlers were getting called up left and right, and then boom, out of nowhere comes Toni Storm and Ember Moon back. That's how you build a division.
Exactly.
And that's the way it goes in this wrestling business. You have to the biggest word I like to use, Alex, in wrestling is replenish. It's replenishing the roster. You got to replenish it when certain wrestlers get called up or certain wrestlers get hurt or certain get released. You got to maintain it. Maybe AEW's tag team division is a little too crowded, but I mean, we'll see. I know they're doing I believe they're doing the Fatal 4-Way match. Right? I don't know if they're doing it next week, the one that they announced this week.
I'm not sure if they are, but I know that they are doing a AEW World Title Tournament. They're starting that.
Did you see who's in the first round? They're doing Phoenix and
Pentagon.
Pentagon are in the first round. Look, I think we know what the finals are going to be. I think it's pretty much. I mean, Alex, tell me if you agree with me or not. I think the finals is going to be Hangman versus Kenny. That's where the storyline's going to culminate at Full Gear, and then that's when I think you're going to see Kenny as the cleaner, and the Young Bucks are going to come out, and they're going to be like the original Elite. And that was interesting. I was watching yesterday. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch it, if you're a New Japan fan, you should definitely watch it. Alex, I know you're a huge New Japan fan. Wrestle Kingdom 11, way back when the main event was Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and you watch Kenny as the cleaner, and you watch the Young Bucks as heels. The original Elite. That was the original Elite before Cody, before Hangman, before Marty, Skrull. That was the original. I mean, I wore their backpack to school where I work. To school, like I'm like a kid. Before to work, I had the original Elite backpack. And you watch them as heels, and it fits so perfectly because the Young Bucks are such douches as heels in New Japan, where they constantly, when they go to super kick somebody, it was see ya. But
now when we see AEW, they're like, we're not going to super kick you, Tony. We're going to super kick them, and they super kick the Dark.
Exactly, and I just think, and Alex, I know we've said this, I think Kenny as the cleaner and the Young Bucks as the former heels that they are would be such a great coup for AEW. I think you're bringing it back to where the original Elite started. That was how it was. You know, I love it. I think now I know it seems like I said they're doing. Remember they were randomly drawing tag teams for this. I believe it's a Fatal 4-Way match. I believe they did Private Party, the Young Bucks, Butcher and Blade. And what was the other one they said?
I can't remember. I do want to go through the matches a little bit here for Dynamite.
Man.
And so the first match I really enjoyed, FTR against Best Friends. It was a great, fast-paced match. The teams in this match are very innovative. They know what they can do in the ring, and they brought the A game in this match, and it was amazing. Everything was smooth. The match was great, and the action was unbelievable. So I give Best Friends credit for going to the limit as far as they did, but I feel like it was kind of unfair for Tony Blanchard to kind of get in there. But you know, he's backing FTR. That's what he's supposed to do. He's a leader for FTR. He's teaching everything he knows to Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. So.
That's a replica of them, of Arn Anderson.
Exactly.
And I think, like you said, Alex, I think Best Friends is so underrated in this division. They're so, with Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, I think they're so underrated in this division. And with Orange Cassidy with them, I think it makes it so much fun to watch. They get better each and every week. They've been perfect since Ring of Honor. So.
And then we had Orange Cassidy versus Cody for the TNT Championship match. It ended in a draw, which was a shame the way it ended. I feel like someone should have won that match. It either should have been Orange Cassidy or Cody. And it was the most anticipated match of the week. It was a great match technically by both competitors. And I love seeing the different styles coexist between the two, between Cody and Orange Cassidy. But again, it was just devastating how it ended. I feel like somebody could have won that match.
That's the second time limit draw Cody's had this year. The one with Darby Allin too. I didn't like it. I would have been fine with Cody just winning it. You knew he was going to win it because they spoiled it in saying that I believe next week who Cody was challenging already. They spoiled who was going to win the match or it was going to be a draw. So I just thought that was a terrible job by AEW to do that. You don't put an ad like that during a match because you're spoiling who's going to win or who's going to come out on top. So I didn't like that. And
then the main event, Lance Archer versus Jon Moxley. Great start to the matchup with Moxley almost taking the quick victory off Lance Archer. Archer and Ambrose fighting on the outside made the match fun to watch and very interesting. Bringing Archer and Moxley together for this match was the best move for Tony Khan and AEW, and because the match was very physical, and we saw them spill to the outside floor a couple times. And then at the end of the match, Eddie Kingston, who was on commentary, came out to congratulate Jon Moxley on his victory, and then we saw Kingston attack Moxley. And he made it clear to Moxley he never lost that title. He was never submitted or pinned. So I believe Eddie Kingston he is definitely coming for that AEW title. We'll have to see what happens next.
Yeah, probably Full Gear. That would probably be the Full Gear match. I don't think that's going to be the main event. I think the main event I would probably go with them. I think they should. Is if Hangman and Kenny are in the finals for the championship opportunity. That should definitely be the main event of the
definitely.
Year. It should not be Kingston versus Moxley. And Alex, I've said it many times on this show. I think Kenny's going to be the one that defeats Moxley, and that's the way. That's the route I think they're going to go with all of this in due time. But look, I like the AEW this week. I enjoyed it. I like the 1 year anniversary show, and I think they're building it more and more each week. I mean, you're seeing it on Twitter constantly gives the viewership numbers. They're not reaching the 900,000.
They're still doing pretty well, though. They're still racking up some viewership.
Hey, they are doing all right. NXT, unfortunately, is not doing well with the viewership.
No.
Really unfortunate. Personally, and Alex, I know you've agreed with me on this many times, where I think NXT should just move to Tuesday or Thursdays. I don't think they should do Wednesday.
No, I think it should just be a Tuesday or Thursday show.
I think they should just do Tuesday or Thursday. Probably Tuesday because of Thursday Night Football. That they would get crushed in the viewership with Thursday Night Football. So I think Tuesday would be ideal for them. I think NXT should just be Tuesdays. Let AEW be Wednesdays. It's a win-win for both parties. There's no reason to continue the competition anymore. But look, Triple H has said it. He's not leaving Wednesdays for a while, and that's fine. He wants to keep his head up.
Yep.
Moving forward, and I respect that, but at the same
time,
you got to benefit what's best for you and your company, and I think Wednesdays are just not working for them, and
it's a shame too.
Let's get into NXT right now, Alex. I liked it a lot. I did. I think they're really. I use that word again, Alex. I use the word replenish. They're constantly replenishing that roster because guys and girls are getting called up every single week. What were your thoughts on NXT this week?
It was very interesting. I love seeing Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong take on Oney Larkin and Danny Burch. Undisputed Era, that was a great match from them. They're now the number one contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championships against Breezango. So it'll be very interesting to see how they do against Breezango, because Breezango's never. I think they have they faced Undisputed Era.
Not yet.
They haven't. Yeah.
They have faced they beat Imperium, Fabian Eichner, and Marcel Bartel. I really think that's all they've faced so far. I don't really think.
And Legado del Fantasma.
Did they face?
Breezango did, yeah.
Defend the tag team titles against them, though.
No.
Yeah. So, are you talking about defending the belts, or are you talking about just facing them?
Just facing them.
Just facing them. Okay. No, I don't think they have faced Undisputed Era yet.
No. So it'll be interesting to see how Undisputed Era comes up against Breezango, and Breezango is going to have to be on top of their game. They're going to have to really watch Undisputed Era in the ring, because they like to go to the outside floor and trick you, use everything to their advantage, and just try to one up you in these matches, and that's what they did against Oney Larkin and Danny Burch. So I feel like Breezango really needs to watch out for something like that.
Absolutely, and I think it's interesting. Everybody's saying, "Well, where's Reg Rag and why are Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly not teaming up?" Well, because Kyle O'Reilly just fought for the NXT Heavyweight Championship and has some injuries. And look, Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong have held the tag team titles together before. I actually was at one of their defense matches that they had at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. I believe it was 3 when they fought Mustache Mountain. And it was a phenomenal opening match with those 4. And, with Trent Seven and Tyler Bate. And, when you see – the thing about Undisputed Era, it doesn't matter who's tag teaming with who. The chemistry is there.
Yeah, it's always been there between those 4 or those 3.
Absolutely, and all 4 of them know each other, Alex, and that's really what it comes down to. And it's actually coincidence because when I was watching Wrestle Kingdom 11, one of the matches that was on the card was for the Ring of Honor World Championship. It was Kyle O'Reilly, the heavyweight champion, versus Adam Cole in the Bullet Club, and they had a huge rivalry, those two. So those 4 know each other well. They all come from Ring of Honor and New Japan. They've known each other for years. So it doesn't matter who's teaming up with who. I had Red Dragon as one of my top tag teams in the world, and I still think they are. But Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong are fine tag teaming with each other. And it was actually, Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly that were the tag team, not Bobby Fish in that match against Mustache Mountain. But my point is, they could tag team with whatever. They're tag team specialists. It doesn't matter. So.
And then I love this match, too. This was great. Johnny Gargano against Austin Theory. Austin Theory, he's getting better with ring awareness, and he's getting better with development each week. Theory's ring combat is getting better week by week. Eventually, he has to win a match. They have to book him. They have to book him in an angle where he can really take advantage and really get a win, because right now he's had a lot of major losses, even against big names like Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest and people like that. And it just has to get better for him, because he's one of those guys that came over from Evolve, was an Evolve champion. So I really think they need to give him a chance, really allow him to really grow in Squared Circle.
And they will, Alex. They definitely will. In due time, they will. Look, he's so young. I think he's 20. I don't want to get his age wrong. I think he's 23 or something. But he's so young, Alex. He's going to get his time. He will. They're grooming him. And that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, look. He's already had singles matches against Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, and Adam Cole. So clearly they see something in him where, one, they see a future in this kid that they're giving him these kinds of matches against these competitors. But 2, they're also letting him, have the opportunity to face big names and get him to the point where they feel. I think he's a future NXT heavyweight champion in this company. I do.
I agree. I 100% agree with you, because he's one of these guys where in Evolve, he was pushed constantly. He was one of those people in the back that worked really hard and really took it to the next level. So I really think he could be a champion in NXT.
Absolutely, because Alex, you look at it too. Look at it this way: if they didn't believe in him, would they be giving him matches versus Tommaso Ciampa?
No, they would not.
Adam Cole? No, they wouldn't. So again, this is, and also Dexter Lumis as well. He fought Dexter Lumis. So look at it that way. And then really quick before we go to break, I know you want to bring up the Dexter Lumis, Damian Priest match as well quickly.
Yeah, that match was definitely one of my favorite matches that we've seen so far in NXT. And great, it was great. Great athleticism from Damian Priest in the match. Dexter Lumis, he was on a high profile in this match. And it was a smart move from William Regal, the general manager of NXT, to book him in this matchup. The match definitely allowed Dexter Lumis to show what kind of performer he is and what he can do in the squared circle, and what it took. He definitely took it to Damian Priest in this matchup. And it's awesome to see Damian Priest put the North American title on the line each and every week against top names, big names like Cameron Grimes, who got involved in the matchup at the end. And
I like that, by the way.
Huh?
I like that happened.
Yeah. He got involved in the matchup and cost Dexter Lumis the matchup. So something is looming here. Something is growing.
No pun intended, right? No pun intended. But something is looming for Dexter Lumis.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah, something's looming for Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes, so we're just going to have to wait and see what happens next Wednesday. And I give this NXT a solid 9.3 out of 10.
I like it. You know what? I thought it was really good, too, and I enjoyed it very much. I really did. I thought it was awesome. I thought the match was solid, and I think the rivalry is going to set the tone. Clearly, Johnny Gargano's also not done with Damian Priest because they had a little bit of a tiff at the end of the show.
And then we still have to, and then we saw Shotzi Blackheart and Candice LeRae, and we saw Andy Hartwell give her the brass knuckles, just nailed her with the brass knuckles and swept away Shotzi Blackheart's dream.
There you go. I like that. And they're going with spin the wheel and make the deal for Halloween Havoc. So we will see. All right, when we come back, we still have so much to get to. We're going to get to This Week in Wrestling History. We're going to get to our fall pay-per-views. Fall pay-per-views, okay? Not pay-per-views of all time. I need to emphasize that. That Alex and I think that you should check out. And we're going to give you an update on the G1 Climax for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And boy, the finals are set. It's a good one. But there was a big heel turn that happened. Check us out. Finish up with us, okay? This is Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We'll be right back.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Everybody's got a price. Rest in peace.
Welcome back to Off the Mat with Alex Slows and Josh Silverberg.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Off the Mat, and now we are getting into This Week in Wrestling History for Thursday, October 17th. This is an NXT Tampa show from 2013.
Alex, that's bias on your part because it's Tampa. That's bias on your part.
NXT Arena, a.k.a. the FCW Arena in Tampa, Florida. Attendance is unknown. The first match was against Angelo Dawkins and State Randall versus Angelo Dawkins. Angelo Dawkins defeated State Randall in a singles match. The next match was Bayley, Emma, and Paige defeated Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, and Veronica Lane in a six-person tag. Number 3 was Leo Kruger against Aiden English, and he defeated Aiden English in a singles match. Number 4 was Adrian Neville defeated Corey Graves in a singles match. Number 5 is Jason Jordan, Mason Ryan, and Wesley Blake against Baron Corbin, Danny Burch, and Sawyer Fulton. And the team of Jason Jordan, Mason Ryan, and Wesley Blake defeated Baron Corbin's team. Number 6 was Alexander Rusev against Camacho. I guess that's how you say it, Camacho. Yeah, it's kind of a hard name to pronounce.
For Alex. I love that.
Yeah, this was a singles match, and Rusev won this match. And then number 7, Bo Dallas defeated Sami Zayn and for the NXT Championship. So there are some really good names in here, some solid matchups in here, including the 6-person tag with Mason Ryan and Jason Jordan. Baron Corbin, who's now a main event superstar, which from 2013, you would think you would never see Baron Corbin on the main roster getting to that point.
Absolutely. And Alex, you mentioned some names too. You mentioned some AEW wrestlers as well. You mentioned Rusev, who's now Miro in AEW. You also mentioned Neville, who's now Pac. He's in AEW. Aiden English is now wrestling on the indie scene. I mean, Sami Zayn, Bo Dallas. You mentioned all these names. It's crazy. And even the women's division, like Charlotte and Sasha Banks losing a tag team match, you wouldn't even ever think. So I think the card was interesting. I think it's great. That's old NXT.
That's like old school NXT 2013.
During 2013, yeah, that's old school. I mean, that's you're really getting into the. And they do have those matches, by the way. They do have those matches
on the WWE Network.
Network, yeah, they do. So it's kind of cool. So definitely you want to go back and check that out. That was awesome, Alex. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. I butchered Rusev's opponent, but that's okay.
But you know what? Who cares? Rusev won the match, so it doesn't really matter.
No.
All right, Alex, let's get into it, man. Alex came up with a great segment that I think is interesting, and I think it's an awesome idea. So at first when I saw it, Alex threw it at me. I said, okay, best pay-per-views of all time. I had to read it clear. Best fall pay-per-views of all time because we're in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
So instantly shows you probably think of, and Alex, tell me if you agree with me here, you probably think of Fall Brawl, Halloween Havoc.
Oh, yeah. I'm about to go through the list from greatest to worst.
Oh, that's interesting. You did greatest to worst. See, I'm going to mention, when you're done, I'm going to mention 5 shows that I picked that are not really well-known shows that people should check out, and I want to hear what your list is first.
Number 1, Halloween Havoc, 1998. Number 2, Fall Brawl, 1995. Number 3, Survivor Series, 2005. Number 4 is Fall Brawl 1994, and then number 5 is WCW Mayhem 2000.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you mentioned a couple of shows that, in your opinion, which are known shows. I'm about to throw shows at you, Alex. You're going to fall backwards on your chair. While you liked your shows, and I'll tell you why I liked mine. All right. So one for me. It's an obvious one. Survivor Series 1990. That's The Undertaker's debut. Survivor Series 2002. AAA. So AAA, if you don't know what AAA is, it's a Mexican promotion, Lucha Libre.
Yep.
AAA Worlds Collide 1994. TNA Turning Point 2009. And Ring of Honor Man Up 2007. So Alex, do you want me to go first? Do you want to go first? Do you want to hear my reasons, or do you want to go first?
I'll go first and explain the reasoning for my list. So I picked Halloween Havoc in '98 because if you look back on it, it's a pretty legendary show. You had big names like Goldberg, who defended his World Heavyweight title against Diamond Dallas Page, Hollywood Hogan against the Ultimate Warrior in a singles match, Bret Hart defeating Sting in a knockout match. Scott Hall against Kevin Nash in singles competition. Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner, brothers going to war in a singles match. So there's a lot of interesting matchups in here. Even Billy Kidman, who was in the Cruiserweight division for WCW at the time.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, I mean, look, 1990 Survivor Series, it's pretty easy. The card is cool. But look, The Undertaker made his big debut. And that's something I think that's going to be remembered in wrestling history. When you look back on it, you're going to want to tune into it. You're going to want to see what it looks like. I mean, Brother Love was his manager. That's how far back it goes. Before Paul Bearer even existed. The card is okay. You have Hulk Hogan, Tio Santana, the Ultimate Warrior. The faces always won their matches. That was really what it comes down to.
Yeah. And then for me, for Fall Brawl 95, I would say from the result list from 1 to 10, I would say the best match here, just by looking at it, had to be the War Games match with Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Lex Luger, Sting with Jimmy Hart against the Dungeon of Doom, Kamala, the Zodiac, the Shark, and Ming, the Taskmaster.
I remember all that. I remember
That's a classic matchup there. That sounds like some classic names.
Hogan had to go through this maze or whatever it was to get to the Taskmaster to get to where he wanted. So another one I'll throw at you again. Turning Point, TNA Turning Point 2009. Now there's 2 matches on this card that you look back on. Now the card is but there's 2 matches you need to check out. One match is Kurt Angle versus Desmond Wolfe, who is now Nigel McGuinness. We all know who Nigel McGuinness is. He's the announcer for NXT UK, for NXT, for NXT General when he's there. So Kurt Angle and Desmond Wolfe had a great submission match. I watched this whole pay-per-view. I watched all these pay-per-views, by the way, from start to finish. I sat there and I watched it. You have to check out this main event. For the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, it's AJ Styles as the champion defeating Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe. You haven't checked out that match, you're missing.
That sounds like a match I need to watch. Really need.
I remember watching it live. And I went back and I rewatched it again. It was awesome. And it's amazing because those 3 put the X Division on the map for TNA. And now here they are main eventing a pay-per-view. Those 3 had an unbelievable rivalry. They were best friends, so they knew each other really well. So that's a match you got to look back on for sure.
Definitely. And going back to my list here, I would some of these matches are great. Like Chris Jericho, who had a rivalry with Raven in WCW for the television championship. Man, that sounds like a rivalry that went back and forth for a while. And Chris Jericho, he was known as WCW Monday Night Jericho back then because it was WCW. That was the brand he was on. And he was competing against really big names: Rey Mysterio Jr., Disco Inferno, Billy Kidman, all those big names. Alex Wright. I'm trying to remember. Eddie Guerrero, yeah, Eddie Guerrero. He competed against him. So there's a lot of people that he's gone against and really really went to the next level with these matches. And then another one for me would have to be Bret Hart versus Sting, because those are 2 big legendary names in sports entertainment.
That match was so bad, though. Yeah, it's a legendary match. It is. I agree with you 100%, Alex. You would think when you hear those 2 names, you would think it should be legendary, but it just
didn't turn out how you expected. No,
for sure. Survivor Series 2002, for me, it's quite simple. The card is not very good, but the main event is awesome. And if you notice my trend, Alex, my trend is this. The shows aren't great, but there's 1 or 2 matches you got to check out. This was the first ever Elimination Chamber match where Shawn Michaels, who had just come out of retirement, defeated Triple H, Chris Jericho, Kane, Booker T, and Rob Van Dam. And this was at Madison Square Garden. Check out that match. The match was insanely awesome. When you look at those competitors, that was, again, this was the Ruthless Aggression era. So like I said, when you look back on it, if you had never seen that match, go check it out. It's awesome. It's worth watching.
Definitely. And Survivor Series 05, that's number 3 on my list because we saw Team SmackDown, Batista, Bobby Lashley, JBL, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio defeat Team Raw, Big Show, Carlito, Chris Masters, Kane, and Shawn Michaels. And then after Team SmackDown won, we heard the gong, the arena goes dark. We saw Undertaker come out and confront Randy Orton, saying that he is next on the hit list. And yeah, that became one of the biggest rivalries for Randy Orton in his singles career.
Yes, it did. It absolutely did, for sure. I'm going to go over AAA When Worlds Collide, and this is from 1994, and this is something that people need to look at because when you think of the cruiserweights that happened growing up, who's that, like, you know what I mean? When you look back on this card, it's crazy. You have Psychosis on this card. Rey Mysterio is on this card. Two Cold Scorpios on this card. Tito Santana's on this card. La Parka is on this card. Eddie Guerrero is on this card. Conan is on this card. And these are young, up-and-coming cruiserweights that want up being huge deals in the wrestling business. So this is a card that I watched from start to finish. And this is something that I think many will like, they'll check out, and I think they'll enjoy it very much.
I agree with you. It seems like what pay-per-view was that again?
That was AAA Worlds Collide in 1990.
Wow, that seems like a really, really great show. It sounds like it was a great pay-per-view for AAA. I've never watched AAA, but I've heard great things about them. I've heard amazing things about their shows.
If you've never watched AAA and you've never watched, well, Lucha Underground doesn't exist anymore, but they had it, I think, on Netflix for a time being. If you never watched those two shows, go watch them, especially AAA. AAA is phenomenal. It's unfortunate. They were originally going to be at Madison Square Garden last year. They were going to be in the big arena, and unfortunately, they didn't sell enough tickets, so they had to move to the theater at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
Because they didn't sell enough. And,
No.
They tried, and I get it. That was worth an effort. I was going to go to the show, but it was, AAA is, I think, getting better all the time with developing superstars.
So I got one more to go through on my list because we're kind of short on time. So, so this is Fall Brawl 1994. There are some legendary names in here from even old school, going back to the 80s or a little bit in the 90s. Hacksaw Jim Duggan defeated Stunning Steve Austin for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. Johnny B. Bad defeated Lord Steven Regal for the WCW World Television Championship. And then this match, Dusty Rhodes, The Natural, Dustin Rhodes, and the Nasty Boys, Brian Knobbs and Jerry Saggs defeated the Stud Table, Terry Funk, Arn Anderson, Bunkhouse Buck, Colonel Robert Parker with Ming. So that sounds like, these sound like really classic matches, old school matches that date back. The people still remember today, people who grew up watching this pay-per-view in 94. So a lot of people who grew up with these names like Kevin Sullivan, Dave Sullivan, Cactus Jack, Brad Armstrong, Brian Armstrong, Steve Kern, Bobby Eaton, all those big famous names that people still know today.
Yeah. The last one for me, because again, Alex, like you said, we're short on time and we're going to get to New Japan. It's his Ring of Honor Man Up 2007. Again, Nigel McGuinness, he's on the card. And, excuse me, we all know who Rocky Romero is, right?
Yep.
Who Rocky Romero is. He defeated Matt Cross in a match. Austin Aries defeating Davey Richards. How about this one? You have Roderick Strong defeating Eric Stevens for a match. Takeshi Morishima, who was an underrated Ring of Honor World Champion, defeated Bryan Danielson, better known as Daniel Bryan, for the Heavyweight Championship. But the main event, and I've seen this main event, it's unbelievable. It's the Briscoe brothers, Mark and Jay Briscoe, defending the championships against Kevin Steen, better known as Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn, who in here was El Generico. That was the main event. It was a ladder match for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. The Briscoes versus Kevin Steen and El Generico. Awesome, awesome, awesome show. You need to check this out. If you want to see some of our wrestlers in NXT, even AEW, they're here. They're on the show. And New Japan as well, because New Japan has a partnership with Ring of Honor. But you'll see a lot of their NXT guys came from Ring of Honor.
Exactly. And then if you want to watch back the old school pay-per-views like Halloween Havoc 98, Fall Brawl 95, or Survivor Series 2005, they're all on the WWE Network, so you can watch those from the free version or for the paid version for WWE.
For sure. It's easier to find yours, Alex. It's a little harder to find mine, but I bet you could find them on YouTube somewhere. YouTube has everything. All right, Alex, let's get to this quick before we get to our finishing move. We just got to update the G1. For those of you that haven't watched it, you could sign off now because we don't want to spoil it for you.
Nope.
The finals are set. It is going to be Kota Ibushi coming out of Block A, going up against the man who came back from the bottom in Block B, Sanada. Sanada is in the finals for Block B, so it is Kota Ibushi versus Sanada in the finals for the chance to fight Tetsuya Naito at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, and the B block's going to be decided today, I think. It's going to be
decided. It was decided this morning.
This morning, okay.
It was done. Sanada won it. Sanada was at the bottom, won it. He won his match. Naito lost, and I believe because Sanada beat Evil, I believe, therefore Sanada wins the tiebreaker. So Sanada is now the winner of the B block, and he'll fight Kota Ibushi for the right to win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship match opportunity at Wrestle Kingdom against Tetsuya Naito, which would be very interesting because that's another LIJ member that Naito would have to face. What are your thoughts on that finals matchup?
Oh, I'm excited for this final matchup. I really am very focused in to see who's gonna come out on top in this matchup. I feel like it's gonna be Kota Ibushi. Sonata has good experience in the squared circle, and he's really trained, and he's really aggressive in the ring with his submissions and everything. But I don't think it's gonna be enough to defeat Kota Ibushi, because Kota Ibushi is one of these competitors who can move very quickly. He can outsmart you in a blink of an eye, and you just really need to stay on your A game, because if you slip up one time, Kota Ibushi is going to take the advantage from you.
I think Sonata wins it. I think Sonata's going to win it. I think it's going to be a change-up by New Japan. I would love to see it. It's a matchup people have been wanting to see for a long time, Sonata versus Tetsuya Naito. I think you're going to have an all-LIJ main event at Wrestle Kingdom, which would be phenomenal.
It definitely would. I wouldn't mind seeing that, to be honest.
I want to see it.
I want to see it. I want
to see somebody different. The bigger thing, Alex, I want to get to with you is, look, we saw a heel turn during this tournament, and that is Will Ospreay beating Kazuchika Okada yesterday, turning on him with B. Priestley and I forget his name, Ken Okar, I believe his name is, who wrestles in Rep Pro, was a guy wrestling in the dojo for New Japan. He comes over, he's helping out Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay has officially left Chaos. He has turned on. He basically told Okada after the match to go bleep himself, not once but twice, saying you held me back. I am so ecstatic for this rivalry between Okada and Will Ospreay. I'm excited for Will Ospreay to be a heel. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and speaking of Okada and Ospreay, they have been the most fun to watch in these matches because of their in-ring abilities and styles. And I love how Okada has been using that neck hold submission, yes, implementing the head and neck. He likes to use it a lot, and it's definitely helped him rack up victories in the tournament. But it's a shame to see him slip. It's a shame to see him lose and Ospreay go out. But they did unbelievable in this tournament. It was great
match, but unfortunately he didn't have enough points.
No.
Therefore Ibushi won it, but that's okay. Now you get an Okada Ospreay rivalry. Remember, I asked you weeks ago, what's next for Okada? It's interesting. Well, now we have the answer. It's going to be Okada Ospreay for the time being. I can't wait. You're also seeing kind of Jay White and Evil throwing shots at one another as well. So it looks like there is a little bit of a dent in the armor for
Bullet Club. Yeah,
going to be a little civil war there between Jay White and Evil, which is going to be so much fun to watch. I can't wait. It's going to be something that I think we're excited for. Let's get to it, Alex. Let's get to our finishing move, man, because we're short on time. It's crazy. We had a great jam-packed show today. Let's get to our finishing move. What's yours?
So my finishing move is Big E could be set for a WWE. He could be set from WWE Creative, to have a major singles push on SmackDown, and they're gonna make him a more serious competitor and character. They're gonna make him a more serious competitor character-wise, is what I'm trying to say. And I would love to see Big E next in line for a WWE title opportunity down the road once everything is set and once they're able to get him into that serious phase and really push him as a singles competitor. And then hopefully we'll see him go up against somebody, hopefully Universal Championship or the WWE Championship. We'll have to wait and see where all that – we'll have to see how that all plans out.
Absolutely. I think it's great. I'm a little curious about the serious part. I like his character the way it is sometimes. I think he's funny. I think he's the funniest guy in the New Day. So I'm curious to see how they go about it. But look, we'll see how they plan it. Mine is the G1, and it's finally finished. And we saw some twists and turns in it. You're seeing Evil and Jay White. You're seeing Okada and Will Ospreay. So new rivalries were formed during this G1. It's not, and I think you're going to get Sonata Ibushi. I mean, I think you are getting it, but you're going to get Sonata that I think is going to win it. I know you picked Ibushi, Alex. I got Sonata, and I think Sonata's going to get his shot at Naito. for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. I'm wondering if it's going to be the double gold against each other at Wrestle Kingdom. I can't wait. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's New Japan's been bittersweet to watch. All these new rivalries coming together makes New Japan interesting, and that's why I love watching their shows. I can't wait to see where they go if the road towards Wrestle Kingdom. It's going to be great.
It's going to be awesome. But that's our show for today, everybody. Please, again, don't forget to download our app. All right? If you have an iPhone, all right, go to the Apple Store. If you have an Android, go to the Google Play Store. All you have to do is type in WWSRN. That's WWSRN. You type that in. The app is free. You get our show schedule. You get all of our list of shows that we have for you, from the Wise Guys to Down to the Wire, Below the Mic, Ryan Hickey Show, the BS Sports Show, the Fantasy Sports Show, Weapons Hot, a New York Jets podcast, the sports hit list, everything and then some. So it's not just wrestling we have on you. We have everything for you to check out. Articles. Again, Alex has written amazing articles for the website. Type in worldwidesports.com on your, on the internet. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, YouTube. We're on every platform. Alex, how can the fans reach us again as well?
The fans can reach us on Twitter. My Twitter is @ShowSlows. Josh's Twitter is at Josh Silverberg. And you can follow us on our Facebook page, Off the Mat WWSRN. And feel free to call into the line anytime. Leave a voice message there. The number is 727-888-4295.
We want to hear from you. Listen, we hope you enjoyed today's jam-packed show. It was awesome. Alex, always a pleasure, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't work too hard. All right? Have a good one. I hope you had a wonderful birthday last week as well.
Thank you. It was fun.
To the fans out there, thanks for lending us your ears for the last hour. Take care. Have a great and safe rest of the weekend. This is Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.